はい、というわけで、バックアップワークの FF14 が終わりまして、Take this interview ということで、先ほども説明いたしましたが、今回の RTA イベントがメンタルヘルス等を、行っている団体に寄付をしている関係で、こういった開幕、開幕の、ものが用意されております。で、今回のインタビュー内容は、多分メンタルヘルスとゲーム産業についてだそうです。 まだセットアップなのかな。まだちょっと時間がかかっているようですので、改めて、イベント概要の方をまた、説明させていただきたいと思います。現在、ジャパニーズリストリームでは RTA イベントスピードランラグナロク2024の様子を公認で日本語ミラー配信しております。スピードランラグナロク2024はザ・ RPG バルキリーズのツイッチチャンネルで行われているチャリティーイベントとなっております。で、今回のイベントの寄付先は Take Thisとなっており、ゲームコミュニティにおけるメンタルヘルスに関する意識向上教育方針活動を目的とした非営利団体となっております。
Okay, I'm just being a dork now. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back, everybody, to Speedrun Ragnarok. We are benefiting Take This again this year, which you may or may not know. So I'm going to tell you, Take This is a mental health nonprofit, and their main focus is to
は
inform
い、
the
とい
gaming
うわけで
community
来まし
about
たね。
mental health
とはいえ
issues
特に
and
解説等
provide
が
education
必要な
on
も
mental
のというわけではないの
disorders
で、
as well as
一
prevention
応、
techniques and reduce the overall stigma
Chrome
around
で
mental
ご覧の
illness.
皆
And I am
様に
joined
つきま
here
して
with
は、
the
ブ
wonderful
ラウザーの画面
Dr.
右
B,
上の方にある3本線と音
also
符
known
がついている
as
マーク
R
のところをク
Bokamatsu
リックしていただきますと、リア
Oh,
ルタイム翻訳
yeah. Well
で、
done.
字幕等を起こすことが
Dr.
でき
B,
ますので、
I trained
こ
in
の
his
インタビュー
prison.
の
I
内
just
容を
took
ね、
one look at the
字幕
class
付
name
き
and
で確認することができます。
that's how Dr. B stuck.
皆
And then I
様
got
ね、
into the game industry.
よ
And
ろしければ、
yeah, it was funny. I did
そ
media
ちらのね、機
media
能の方を
training early
ご利用
on,
く
and
ださい。
I used my full name, Rafael Bocamatzo, doctor of psychology, blah 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 blah. And afterwards, the media specialist said, "I'm never going to say this again, but your name sounds more pretentious than your title. Stick with Dr. B."
Perfect.
And so it just kind of stuck.
I love that. Dr. B, can you just tell us a little bit about what you're doing at Take This right now?
I mean, right this second, it's my day off, so no,
So right now
doesn't
at
it
this
look
very
like it?
second, yeah, right now at this very second, Dr. B is doing an interview with me.
Yeah,
for
no.
today.
Thanks, everybody. Glad to have answered that question. No, it's well, frankly, it's an interesting time at Take This. Like, it's an interesting time in the game industry, and you know what. This is one of those things that we're here to talk about, mental health in the game industry. And I don't know what y'all know about what's been going on in the last couple years, but basically the amount of layoffs in the game industry have hit historical highs. I think it was about 10,000 people last year, and we hit those numbers by May of this year. And seems like not a week goes by when we, without us hearing about another studio doing layoffs and so forth. And subsequently, social giving has been a struggle in the game industry for the last couple years. And so Take This has been really focused in the last couple months about trying to bolster our infrastructure and figure out what are the most solvent and effective programs that we have and how to more effectively leverage that. God, I'm going into corpo speak. What we're doing is we're really trying to shift paradigms here, and we're really trying to disrupt the usual mental health model. No, it's God. I kind of, oh God, I want to hide my head in shame for going into corpo speak. Good God.
You know what? No, it's fine. So we're shifting paradigms, and we're
shifting paradigms. We're synergies.
And we're looking at programs and synergies. Synergy. So I guess to try and summarize what I just heard is right now, Take This is looking to figure out what's working and what ain't.
Right, because it's there's obviously a need.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been really different inflection points over the last 10 years. And oh my God, Liz, I may not have the tiara today.
No tiara.
I have multiple other hats.
No tiara.
God, I moved offices like a month ago. I'm still trying to clean up. I don't know if I have my tiaras.
Tiaras. Well,
I have multiple other hats. But
Dr.
yeah,
B,
how much should we, if people want me to wear a different hat, what are we talking here?
How about let's say $50 for the first hat, and we'll go from
$50.
there.
Okay. I'll actually tell you what. Yeah, 50 sounds good. 50 cents. Yeah, I'll change $50. I'll put on a different hat. I have multiple hats. I if you do 100, I will put on the hat I wore in the Music Man 15 years ago. It's a straw boater. It's just sassy.
There we go. So $50 for first hat, you hit $100, and we get the Music Man hat. Heck yeah.
And at that point you got trouble.
It is always trouble here with Dr. B.
Yeah, trouble right here in Speedrun City.
Yep, that's us. That's us right here. Perfect. So what have you been focusing on specifically in the last several months at Take This?
Being a dad.
Back to you.
No, I've been gone a good chunk of this year.
Have you? That's
right.
Oh yeah,
I'm a dad as of 7 months ago.
Oh my goodness. How are you liking that?
How am I liking that? I mean, I love her. That kid's ridiculous and Gerber baby cute. It's gross.
I love that. How are you loving sleep right now?
I would love sleep right now. She just hit another sleep regression after giving me a cold. That's why that's why I sound like I'm trying to do a Tom Waits cover album here.
I love this.
And it turns out I used to think I was just really good at avoiding getting sick. It turns out I was really good at avoiding people sneezing directly in my face. And so, so she's coughing in the middle of the night and waking herself up while she's teething and hitting a sleep regression. So I haven't actually had more than 2 hours of continuous sleep in about a week.
Yeah, she's miserable, and so parents are miserable.
Oh no, she's loving life because
she
gets so much attention in the middle of the night. That's the worst part. I think it was like 3 a.m. Liz, what are you doing to me? Liz, what are you doing to me?
Oh my gosh.
It's not that kind of show. Consent is important. No, she's about 3 a.m. this morning. I wake up and she's not crying. She's singing to herself.
I love that. You know what? It sounds like she's taken after her parents here.
Oh God, is she? Oh God.
I love this. This is great.
Oh, Starwind, I'm so sorry. I hope you are one of the fortunate few. I got cocky, okay? We avoided the first one because I don't know why, but we avoided the first one. No, not the second one. Yeah, but so if you sense that I'm kind of dodging the question of what I've been doing at Take This for the last couple months, that's aside from fundraising since I got back, not much because I was gone for most of the year.
That's fair. Okay, so speaking of mental health, and this is something I think that has probably been hitting Take This a little bit. Can we talk about fundraising for you guys right now and exactly how important fundraising is for Take
Oh
This at the
God.
moment. Just for those of our viewers, because I
Yeah.
know the Valkyries, we've been following this very, very closely because you all are extremely important to us, but I'm not sure that everybody in our chat really truly understands what's going on for Take This at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like any nonprofit, we always need good sources of funding, and we always need ongoing sources of funding because, like any good nonprofit, like any, well, not good or bad, any nonprofit really, labor is the biggest. Salaries and wages are the biggest expense, and especially when you have, you want well qualified people running things without putting in oodles and oodles of extra hours, which we all end up doing anyway. But because nonprofit life, it has to be an ongoing thing. It actually has to be an ongoing thing. And with all the downturn in corporate giving over the last couple of years, it's just gotten more and more dire. So we would just love for the community to really step up. I mean, God, if everybody on our Twitter if everybody who followed us on Twitter gave us $10 for the year, that would take care of like 30% of the budget. Okay, that it would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's cliche to say every dollar counts, but like truly every dollar counts.
Yeah. And I mean, we've talked about this in years past. And of course, I don't know, does Take This still have like an office that you guys have, or have we kind of gone away with?
I mean, we've never really had an office.
An office.
Yeah, no, we've never really had an office. We've always, in the 10 years I've been with Take This, it's always been remote.
Okay.
Our office and our warehouse is who's got room at their house.
Which is fair.
And so for a while, actually last, I think, couple of years, it's been my psychology office or, my storage unit.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah, but I mean, I guess just to, of course, so if Take This did have an office, let's just pretend every dollar that we're going to, I know you're like, oh, like try to think of that.
I mean, for us to have actual space and given how spread out we all are, that would be interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, just like if we were thinking about like if Take This had like a theoretical office,
yes,
all of our money also goes to like literally, it would go to literally paying things like the electric bill to keep the lights on, the internet bill, right? So we're in this case, because we're not paying for like an office, this is more financially stable for us, right?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that I didn't realize before I got into nonprofits that I hear about. Every year you see things going around about warning people about like which charities to not give to because their administrative cost is X, Y, and Z. Their administrative cost is like 80%. All of that goes to wages, and their CEO makes $300,000 a year. Well, okay, at some of the bigger nonprofits like the World Wildlife Federation, those are the equivalent of multinational corporations. You need somebody with the skills to run a multinational corporation at the helm, and you ain't going to get that unless you pay.
Right.
And so, I mean, I'm always, when I saw those of like 80-90% administration costs, now I get it. Because you gotta pay for qualified people.
Right. And I think it's really hard for a lot of us to understand that until we get to hear, like we get to see inside of this, because like all of the, I mean, you have PsyD, Dr. B, how many years did it take you to
24th grade?
Yep. 24th grade. There we go. So like we get out of high school, and 12 years later we have, a doctor.
Well, okay. In fairness, I took an extra year on my doctorate. I also spent another year doing some training for something completely different. I was under the impression I would be able to work during my doctoral program, and so I took a year and got a license as a pharmacy technician, which that lasted about a year and a half into grad school when I was in grad school and working full time. Yeah, Rocco, listen, I was young and
Right.
innocent, and
Right,
I
go.
didn't understand. Okay, listen, you can understand, just like parenthood, you can understand something academically, but you don't know what the room is like till you walk through the door, all right?
Yeah. Rocco, for anybody in our community, and I guess Dr. B, if you don't know, Rocco just finished his doctorate.
I'm so sorry, Rocco. Oh, do you still read for fun? Because it took me years. I got
Oh
so
my
burnt out on
goodness.
reading from grad school that I was like, somebody put a book in my hand. You should totally read this. I'm like, yeah, I totally should, shouldn't I?
Oh my goodness. All right. So I guess let's kind of bring back the conversation to mental health then.
Yeah.
How how has
Uh-oh. Audio.
audio
Yeah, no, you must have hit the echo pedal or something.
now?
I mean,
Better now?
you kind of in and out.
In and out. Oh boy. I'm sorry, chat. Is it better now? I see
Better
I'm
now.
okay. I don't know what is up.
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Rising?
And now we can't. What you all don't know is I actually have a secret switch under my desk that when I hit it, other people's sound goes off, and then I just blame them. It's all a part of the mind games that they definitely teach us how to do at psych school.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Is it actually better now for
It is
now?
now. Yeah. No,
Okay.
it's better now.
I don't know what's going on. What were those commercials way back in the day? Was that T-Mobile or
I think it was a Verizon.
Verizon? Verizon, can you
Yeah.
hear me now?
Yeah, I
I
think
miss
that was Verizon.
back in the days.
Yeah.
Anyway, back in the days when
Mental
things were
health.
simpler. Mental health.
Mental health. Yeah.
Yes. So how has Take This as an organization been kind of helping and supporting each other with your own mental health
Oh,
with the current like fundraising drives that you're needing to do?
I mean, that's a tough subject because I mean, nonprofit life is hard,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't matter which nonprofit you're doing. Nonprofit life is hard, and
Yeah.
I'd like to, I'd like to think that all of us trust in each other and believe in each other, and that even when frustrations are high,
Mm-hmm.
that we're all on the same team, that we all have the same good intentions to try and support each other in the org. And I think for the most part, the org, everybody at the org's pretty good at it. We've all worked with each other for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You
it's
know,
a
I'm
sounds like
glad to
nobody's ever asked me that question, and I've never really thought about it like that. But
it's
yeah.
because it is a lot of trust, right? Because it's like,
Oh yeah.
what are you doing? How are we supporting each other? And it's, hearing it from you makes us also all go, right. Because it's I when I think about it too, it's like kind of like the Valkyries, where we're putting on this marathon, and I, for my own reasons, various reasons, because I started a new job, moved, etc. Right, I've kind of been like out of spoons to do any admin work until about now.
Hmm.
So I've had to have my trust in my fellow Valkyries, and they are doing what we can. Of course, we don't get paid, but
Yeah.
we get paid with, honestly, we get paid with the satisfaction of seeing Take This continue on another year, which is honestly
Yeah.
right now, like, it's what I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for you guys.
Well, I mean, we are funded through the end of the year. We are definitely funded through the end of the year. The community and our anonymous corporate donor, who wanted to say, "Hey, I'm matching community funds."
Love that.
They're getting us through the end of the year, and I can't express the level of gratitude that
Yeah.
I think we all have
Yeah.
for both the community and
Mhm.
our corporate donor. It's humbling to see how much people believe in what we do and
Mhm.
want to see it continue. Because at the time Take This was founded in 2012 unofficially, and officially formed into a nonprofit, a 501c3 nonprofit in 2014, there was nothing else in the game industry, not in the game community, not in the game industry. We were it. Now, 10 years later, that's not true anymore, which is awesome. There's other people taking up the banner and saying mental health is important. But there's a lot of things that Take This was the first to do. And I really hope that there's another 10 years of firsts in the future, and that Take This is able to continue offering the program. Do you know, one of the things I added up this year, do you know how many conventions we've had the AFK room at?
How many?
55. 55. And given the fact that some of those conventions, host 1,000 people per weekend. Oh no. That was me.
That was you?
That was me. Oh God. Hold on.
You're back
okay,
now.
We're
Though.
good. I'm back now. Okay,
yeah,
good.
You're back now. We're fine now.
Okay, listen. My office has hinky internet connection sometimes. It is cheap rent. It is cheap office rent. Which is why I'm next to train tracks. It's not because I'm autistic. I actually hate trains. They're loud and they're dirty. But it's an old building, and sometimes the internet gets weird.
Things you do for rent.
Oh my! In Seattle, yeah. But where did I cut out? Well,
55 conventions.
55 conventions. Okay. Oh God, I'm getting animated. I'm about to go into like my preacher voice. And at 55 conventions, my brothers and sisters, some of those conventions host over 1,000 people each weekend in those AFK rooms. So if you do the math, I mean, we've had tens of thousands of people that have come and used the room, and that's awesome. That's awesome amazing. To be able to say that we had a hand in that, providing respite and relief and education to tens of thousands of people.
Yeah, and that's just AFK rooms.
That's just the AFK room. That doesn't count the over 100 workshops we've given over the last 5 years, especially the like 50 or 60 different studios that we've worked with.
Right.
It's pretty ridiculous. The talks we've given at places like GDC, at DICE, at the ripple effects are all over the place, and I'm proud of that. I want to see the organization thrive another 10 years and do even more.
Yeah, no, I do too, and I think if we think about this too, because mental health.
Oh, the Discord. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Liz. If you think about, Take This as the first, like, who knows how long it would have taken for a real first to pop up for mental health in the gaming industry. Because when we think about, and this is like, I try and follow on LinkedIn and stuff too, but when we think about like gaming and how much time and effort goes into making a video game, period, let alone like if it's a MMO and re-supporting it and patches and all that stuff. But if we just think about the time it takes to develop and push out a single video game in 2024, or even in the last 4 years since 2020, it is a lot of time with a lot of people. And then we talk about things like crunch, which is if you don't know, me? Is it me?
Oh yeah, no, you pushed the echo button again.
I pushed the echo button again. I don't know why it's doing that.
But yeah, no, crunch was actually one of the first things that Take This was really involved in with the game industry. And for those of you who don't understand what crunch is, we like to talk about it in terms of crunch culture. And because it doesn't, I don't care what industry you work in, you're going to occasionally put in extra hours because emergencies happen. Urgent stuff happens. But crunch culture is an overt or covert culture of overwork, of expected overwork. And it's been something that we've talked about in the game industry for now well over a decade. Thankfully, it's getting better at a lot of places. But there's a lot of factors to consider in terms of things like I forget who it was. I want to give credit where it's due because this was a brilliant Twitter thread. Um, somebody said that as a manager, they try and prevent people from putting in just one extra hour a week. And most people are like, well, why? It's just one extra hour. And then they put this out there into the ether that if you've got a team of 50 people and each one of them is putting in just one extra hour, that each week over a 50-week work year, that's 2,500 extra hours that you didn't account for in your development cycle. And then suddenly you see that you accounted for 10,000 development hours, but look what your team was able to do with those 10,000 development hours when in reality it was 12,500. And so you increase you raise the bar because your team can do it. Well, now your team has to put in other extra hours, and it just becomes this gross cyclical process in a lot of cases. And there are definitely studios who weaponize passion.
Yeah.
Aren't you lucky to be here? A lot of people want to work in this industry. Aren't you lucky to be here and earn the wages I give you? We've heard from many people about that. And crunch culture is a problem, but thankfully it's getting better. So that's one of the things that we've worked with studios on over the last 10 years. It's one of the things we've worked with the International Game Developers Association. We put out a white paper on it, our first white paper on it. 7 years ago. What is time?
What is time?
What is time? Another dimension.
Time is soup.
I appreciate this. Yeah. But crunch was a big one. Burnout's been another one that we've been talking a lot about, especially in the last 5 years, and burnout in both content creation and in the game industry, because it's a problem.
Yeah.
And burnout's not exactly what a lot of people think it is. It's actually a lot worse. It's not just being overstressed. You take a vacation and you come back and it's better. Burnout is this pervasive, insidious monster that makes you work less effectively, that makes you feel a certain distance mentally from your work. You don't care and you're so exhausted it actually interferes with your ability to recover. And there's so many more factors that contribute to burnout than people realize. And so we put out some great content for free on our website. Go to takethis.org if you want to check that out as your content creator. I have a couple of great videos that we did on that. And so burnout content and burnout crunch, those are two of the big ones that we've been working on. One program actually that I would love to talk with y'all about.
Yeah.
This is not my program. This is the brainchild of Dr. Kelly Dunlap and Dr. Sarah Hayes, who I believe were on earlier. Okay, yeah. So it's our Accelerate program, which is
we heard.
Did they talk about it already?
Just a little bit during yesterday. Well,
they deserve to talk about it a lot more. They deserve to brag about it a lot more because it's brilliant. Instead of picking up a megaphone and yelling at CEOs and saying you should do things differently, what they wanted to do is essentially create a better foundation for the next generation of games leadership. And so it was super competitive. I could not believe how many applications they got for this program. For 10 fellowship positions, they got nearly 600 applications. Oh, and you cut out again. Oh,
amazing.
Yeah, thank you. But they had nearly 600 applicants for these 10 fellowship positions, and each of the 10 fellows is paired up with an industry just leader, high level, world-class leader. We've got like Jared Huntley, who's IMOKC team just won a Peabody Award. We've got Rachel Romero, who's the SVP of Business Development at Critical Role and the Critical Role Foundation. We've got Dr. JC Lau. I mean, it's just the talent pool of the mentorship is ridiculous. And like every week, the fellows get didactic education on a variety of topics, and they do a capstone project at the end. And they're really set up to understand different aspects of mental health in game design, in game industry, in how games are played, and go in with a better education on that topic than I think anybody has ever gone in.
This is really cool. I saw that and I was like, this is really exciting
It's
because
super cool.
it's really amazing.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I can't, I swear I can never remember his exact degree, but I actually saw that Accelerate program when it came out, and I actually recommended Rackadactylus in our chat, hey, go look at this. I can never remember exactly what you're doing, but I know that he's so I sent him that thing and I was like, I don't know what you're doing right now or if this applies to you, but look at this thing, because you know, it's really exciting that Take This is able to help set up the next generation like this for success. And this is just, this is just one of the many things that you're donating to help keep alive at the moment.
Yeah. So there's it's a little tricky because a lot of what we do is more esoteric than you look at a charity like the Susan G. Komen Foundation, and it's a pretty easy sell because if you donate to the Susan G. Komen Foundation, you're supporting breast cancer research. Okay, cool. That's pretty easy to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
What we do is a little bit more esoteric, but nevertheless incredibly important.
Right. It's really amazing. And like if we think about like the tangible things that we see, like AFK rooms, those are really important for any of us who've been to a big convention, even a small convention. Like for me, when I go to RPG Limit Break, which raises money for NAMI, I'm like, okay, I love this, but I need to head back to my room, even though there's like only 20 people around me. I'm like, I need quiet time. Right. So that's a really amazing physical, tangible thing that we can see. But when we come to these esoteric things, it's really hard, I think, to try and sell these to people, despite how important they are.
Yeah, it's a lot of ripple effect benefits, and that's a little hard to wrap our heads around sometimes because you can't see it quite as easily. It doesn't directly apply on a 1-to-1 ratio the same way the AFK room does. But on that note, I know Liz is in the chat, and Liz has been over the last year as our AFK program manager, really trying to come up with ways to adapt the AFK room and the AFK program, which the AFK program, by the way, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. It's not just showing up and having a quiet room. It's training the volunteers, because all of them are, to make it not a therapy space, because that's illegal.
Yes.
That's so fraught. But also we work with the staff at the conventions themselves. Like at PAX, I have personally trained the enforcers at every PAX worldwide at least once.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. On
That's
like
cool.
self-care, how to identify crises, how to intervene in crises, how to support each other. That's something we provide as part of the AFK program behind the scenes as well, to try and make a more sustainable convention culture for the staff and the volunteers. So so Liz has been diligently working at trying to figure out ways of adapting that for smaller conventions, because not every convention needs a full-size AFK room the way PAX West or PAX East does. They just don't have the volume of people, and they don't have the size of the space, and they just operate differently. So that's been something that Liz has been rocking.
Yeah, I don't know how many people have been to a GDQ. The last GDQ I went to was already huge, and I think I've only been to a GDQ once or twice, and it was already huge. And I'm just like, so, and I know that GDQ just keeps growing and growing. So I don't know. I'd love to see if we could ever, branch out into speedrun marathons or bigger ones. That'd also be cool. Liz, if you're here listening.
Liz's people, they'll call your people.
Yeah. But I think what is also hard for people to understand about how the education that Take This provides
Mhm.
affects the gaming industry. It's
Mhm.
I'm washing my hair, Liz says. Yeah, that's good.
It's important.
Good on you. Good
Yeah,
job.
important.
But it's hard to quantify what you taught to a corporation, 7
Right.
years ago, how it how important
Right.
it was then as opposed to now, and to what that had like now. I think it's just harder to see. But I think, I mean, I guess you're the has has it been feeling like mental health in the gaming industry, at least other than like multiple layoffs? Is it feeling more sustainable?
Um, it depends on in what dimension. Like I know there's certainly studio more. I hear about more studios who are dedicated to being anti-crunch studios.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are more studios that are opening that are really dedicated to preventing burnout of the devs. But let's flip it over to the community side.
Yeah.
Because that has a lot to do with the way the games are made. But about on the community, I hear more and more content creators, Twitch streamers, TikTok folks, YouTube creators talking about how to make their lives more sustainable so they can and how to appropriately convey mental health information, because there was some research done a couple years ago in the UK that looked at ADHD information on TikTok, and 52% of it, I think it was only 52% of it was accurate, or 48% of it was accurate, meaning 52%. It was about even 50-50 that you were getting. It was close to even, about 50-50 whether you were getting accurate information or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I having looked at a lot of mental health content creators and so forth, it's a similar thing. Now we can look at that as, holy crap, there's a lot of people giving bad information out there. Or we can look at this as, holy crap, about 1 out of 2 people are endeavoring now to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I think, a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing a lot more concern from the content creators, not only for the content they create, but also how to make their communities more sustainable,
Mm-hmm.
how to increase the openness and the acceptance within their communities in a way that's sustainable for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's a huge deal.
Yeah. I think a lot of content creators don't think about this when they get into content creating at
Mm-mm.
first. But it's not only sustaining your audience and their mental health, but what your audience is, how is it's sustaining you.
Right.
And it's hard to like kind of go back and think, well, wow, actually, like for people who stream like a lot, maybe thinking about like does interacting with your community sometimes, you know, make you feel more exhausted than it does energized?
Yeah.
um
Well, and also just even thinking about content creation itself. I mean, just anecdotally, having talked to a lot of content creators over the years, there's a lot of folks who I think go into content creation streaming on Twitch is certainly part of that, that they're not broadcasters. They're just people having a good time playing
mm-hmm.
video games or doing whatever for various people. But the truth is that once you hit that, that broadcast button, you are a broadcaster.
Yeah.
Once you deliberately put an audience in front of you, it's a different equation. And you
Yeah.
have to think about it differently. And if you are able to think about it differently, from the beginning, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to strip everything down and fix it later on
Right.
as you scale up, because there's certain, I think, problems you can avoid, more sustainability in what you do, set limits ahead of time, what constitutes success, what constitutes personal growth, and all of this
Right.
stuff. Um, yeah, because otherwise, people get stuck and people burn out that way
Yeah.
if they don't think about it
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Yeah. And then like when you think about, like, there's a big YouTuber that I like to watch, and she streams on Twitch every day.
I was going to say Jessica McCabe, How to ADHD. She's amazing.
You know what? Yeah, I've heard about her.
Yeah,
I
so
heard
have I.
heard
Love you, sweetie.
I
If
heard
you're
she
watching
knows
this.
you. I heard she knows you a little.
God, I hope she does. Otherwise, this is it's real awkward at home.
Liz. But so it's actually, if anybody knows The Sims, she's a Sims creator, little Simsy. She streams every day except for Sundays. Posts a video every day. And I'm just like, I'm over here like, even though she doesn't, yeah, even though she doesn't stream like long hours, I think she limits herself to like 4 or 5 hours on her stream, which is yeah,
Every day
except for Sunday. Yeah, or
Oh
when
my
she's
God.
traveling, obviously. But like she goes to like cons and all kinds of stuff. Like, and
Oh my
she,
God.
yeah, I'm over here like, how do you do this? Because that's a lot of time. That's so much time when you think about it, right? Because there's like, you stream every day for 4 hours, she records every day or more, releases a video every day, and she does have people helping her. But like, you have to at that point.
What's her name?
Lil Simsy.
Okay, I'm trying to, let's see here.
And let me say too that Lil Simsy is, I'm just gonna like, sorry for taking this over. Little Simsy is one of the like the most wholesome people I have ever seen on Twitch and YouTube.
Okay, okay, y'all have done it. I'm gonna start watching Lil Simsy at some point.
Great.
Not right now, obviously, but
I mean, and she does like a month-wide charity drive for St. Jude every year too. It's like
in May.
Yeah, in May.
Yeah,
she's honestly like a super wholesome, amazing person. Like I love watching her content, and you know, she's very open about her anxiety and everything. And I think that this is something, especially big creators who have such broad reach like she does, because she's got like 2 million or something.
3,700 CCV.
Yeah, she is tens, 10,000 or more viewers a day just on Twitch. Yeah. And then you take that to YouTube, and she's so open about her mental health that I think it's a thing that we need nowadays for content creators, because when you think about the younger generations and everybody, where are they getting their media? They're getting it from content creators, from YouTube, from Twitch, from TikTok, right? And it's like having this openness about mental health and how it affects you and how you deal with it and how it affects your life and everything helps people go, okay, it's okay that I feel this way, which is something that Take This is also working to do, is to help destigmatize mental health.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's depending on what research you look at, 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 4 people will. I think it's I think that 1 out of 2 number is more accurate. Looking at some of the research, 1 out of 2 people will have a mental health diagnosis in their lifetime, which you know. God, I'm not sure anybody's ever going to say this, but thanks for the pandemic and it was strange. Okay, so before 2020, before 2020, we talked a lot about at Take This, a lot about destigmatizing and really bring mental health into the forefront of the conversation, because a lot of people were not aware of how ubiquitously thanks Take This.
Thanks like this. We need a quote bot.
Out of context quotes by Dr. B. God, the pandemic really shifted how we talked about mental health, because while tacitly a lot of us knew how ubiquitous mental health challenges were, people still weren't talking about it. It's only once things got so bad for so many people at the same time that people were like, oh, no, this is a problem.
It's a real thing.
Let's talk about it. And now the conversation's really different.
Yeah.
When we go to studios these days, when we go to conventions, when we have panels, when we talk with content creators, we don't have to have the same conversations about, did you know mental health is a real issue that affects a lot of people? And they're like, yeah, we know, man, just keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
Yep, we got that part. Can we move on to the
Been
real
there,
stuff?
done that. Let's go to the
There,
real stuff.
done that. Yeah, let's talk about the meat, the contents. Let's
Right.
skip over the potatoes and get into the meat
Right.
and beans.
Exactly. So it's really shifted the way we can have these conversations, and we can get to the meat of things a lot quicker because more people are on the same page. That it
Right.
doesn't matter how tough you think you are. It doesn't matter how resourceful, how much money you have. Everybody has a limit, and
Right.
everybody can be pushed past that limit.
Right.
And I think that, you know, the collective cohort and social trauma of the pandemic made us more aware of that than we ever have been, at least in my lifetime.
Yeah. No, I think so. I feel like for me at least, I feel like just the existence of the pandemic existing at all, like I feel like if I had 10 spoons for a day or a week or something, like immediately took me down to like 5. Like
Oh
I don't
yeah,
have I don't have as many spoons as I used to anymore.
it's almost like, I'm gonna throw this out there. It's almost like if you're in panicky survival mode, a lot of your mental resources go to that.
Hmm. No, really? Tell me
I know.
more.
I, I 24th grade, and I can tell you that with authority, that people have
24th grade.
limits. Boom.
Wow. I am shocked. People
Oh, you cut it out again. Echo.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just moving my mouth. Did I
I
get you?
appreciate that. I mean, if we really want to mess around with it, I can just start hitting, you know, my mute button off and on and just continue talking. Hooray for soundboards.
Mm-hmm. It's does Zoom have soundboards now?
No, I actually have a physical soundboard on my desk I run things
I
through.
love that. Discord has soundboards now, which is very distracting depending on the crowd that you're running with and what they're playing and what they have access to.
It's actually I didn't expect how much this was going to come in handy when I work with clients doing telehealth, because they know I have sound effect buttons on this board. And a couple, sometimes my teenage clients especially are like, no, I want a round of applause for that. Give me a round of applause. I did good. I'm like, well, fair enough to
I
you. And
love
I hit the round of
that.
applause button.
I love that. That's amazing. I'm glad that they're like, no, give me my applause, Dr. B.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
just
like,
clap
yeah,
your
no, way to
hands.
self-advocate. There you go.
Telehealth is a godsend.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's amazing. Can we quickly shout out the mental health resources that are on the Take This website?
Oh, you just did at takethis.org/resources. Absolutely, we
Yeah,
can
that
shout those
one.
out.
That one. It's so okay. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong, because you know, I last time I checked, I know that there's a um,
Oh, and you're cutting out
uh,
again.
therapist directories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's quite a few therapist directories on there. And it's really it's just amazing to have all of those in one place. But what's really cool is some of the widgets that we have, like one that localizes emergency and crisis resources to your locality worldwide, if possible. It's yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on there. And
Yeah.
if you go to takethis.org, you can also see a bunch of you know, expert articles and information written by experts. And
I've got
what's up?
here. Okay.
Okay, hold up.
Phoenix.
I'm going to guess, because you cut out, based on the movements I saw in your mouth. You have a question from the chat, and is it the one that
Yes.
Phoenix Down just asked?
Yes.
That I'm struggling to find therapy I can actually vibe with, though. That normal. Hundy P. All right. It is one of the things that people don't necessarily understand is that one of the probably the biggest controllable factor in therapeutic outcome is the relationship you have with your provider, whether that's a psychiatrist, whether that's a psychologist, whether that's a master's level counselor, social worker, whoever you're working with. If you don't vibe with them, it's not going to work out. If you don't have trust in them, it's not going to work out. If this is a way I frame it for my clients. I work for you. Okay. My whole purpose is to utilize my expertise to help you meet your goals. If at any point you ever feel like you're working for me, something has gone wrong. And we got to fix that.
I love that.
And so this is actually that became the metric of which I started using for anybody I work with in terms of medical and or mental health. If I ever feel like I'm working for them, I got to find somebody else. And so there's questions that you can ask yourself. And we actually have a couple articles on this over at takethis.org. Support take this if you'd like to see more articles on that.
Support take this. I mean, I'm still looking for donations of,
thanks to viewers like you. If $50 and I will put on a hat. Okay. I have multiple hats over here. $50 and I will put on a hat. Phoenix Down, let me say this, that we all have personalities. We all have things we jive with and things that we don't. And it's okay to not have a personality match with your mental health provider, so long as you still trust them. If you feel heard by them. And there can be stylistic things that go into that and so forth. There's questions I like to ask my clients when they come to me for the first time and we do a consult. Is a lot of people ask, what are you looking for in a therapist? No, I don't like that question because that's so broad. What has pissed you off in the past about medical and mental health providers? What are you not looking for? That's what I ask. And usually people are like, oh, okay, no, here's what I don't like. And so from that, we kind of figure out what is it they're looking for. And I'm like, do I feel like a good match based on what they're looking for? And if I'm not a good match, I'm going to try and find somebody who is, because ultimately it's their well-being that is of the utmost importance. And so that's why I come back to, if to my clients, and I say this to them, if they ever feel like they're working for me instead of I'm working for them, we got to fix that.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, you just saying that reminded me, of course, I want to get back into going to therapy, but it's, bless you. Yeah, I know you coughed, but it's okay. I'm good.
Mute buttons are wonderful.
But I had a therapist several years ago that I really vibed with. Unfortunately, she had to go on leave for a while because she was having a baby or something.
Oh God, I have been on both ends of that equation. I have been the client who's lost the therapist, and in the last year I had to tell my clients months ahead of time that I'm going to be going on leave for a while because gonna have a baby.
Yeah. But like the one thing that I remember that I felt safe because I trusted her. I felt like I was being heard. And the thing that I did was, it's like she was doing a certain therapy technique that didn't work for me. And I said, hey, can we try something else? Because this thing isn't working for me. And that was great. But if you're not vibing with your therapist, if it's not working for you, don't feel afraid to break up with your therapist.
Well, and if you do feel afraid to break up with your therapist, that's information right there.
Break up with your therapist if you feel afraid.
Well, I mean, yes. Well, hold up. I'm not going to tell anybody absolutes, okay? Because sometimes people are afraid because of past experiences, not current experiences. So it's not necessarily, it's not always that it's your therapist that's the problem. However, if you're ever feeling intimidated or scared by your therapist, that's still good information.
Yeah.
And it may be something to think about, analyze, and so forth.
Yeah.
And if you feel comfortable enough bringing it up, I think the way your therapist responds, that's further information.
Yeah.
I
felt very, very fortunate that my therapist was like, yeah, we've got other things we could do. Do you want to try CBT and stuff like that? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever is not the thing we're doing right now. And I'll tell you if that works. Right. So
yeah. And I'm willing to bet right there, because the research on romantic relationships over the years has pointed out the idea that relationships don't get stronger in the absence of conflict, they get stronger in the resolution of it. And you know, I think that applies to friendships, to business relationships, and so forth. And if you know, if you've got a therapist and or a mental health provider of any kind or a medical provider, and you say, hey, this isn't working for me, and their response is, I don't know what to tell you. Have you been trying? That's a real different scenario than
Yeah.
This isn't working for me, and they reply with, okay, tell me more. What's not working about this? We want to make sure, you know, that we want to make sure you have a good outcome here, and so let's see if we can modify things to make it work for you.
Yeah.
Very different responses.
Yeah. No, it's, you know, the first one is like, oh, it's not working for you. Okay, what about it?
Sucks to be you, doesn't it?
Sucks to be, yeah, bummer. All right, well, bummer. You just lost a client. See ya.
Yeah.
But it's don't you know, well, of course, if you feel afraid, like Dr. B said, definitely consider that, but don't be afraid to speak up for that. Like, you know, maybe it's not necessarily the therapist you don't vibe with, but their technique that they're using.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people who have gone through 12 years of school probably know a few more techniques, at least one more.
God, I hope so. God, I hope so. Or at least have enough flexibility to change up well, a metaphor I like to use is that hammers are really useful when you have nails. Okay. Drills are really useful when you need a hole. But if you're trying to but if you can't build a house using any one tool exclusively,
Right.
you have to have other things to draw from. And if you're trying to drive in a nail with your drill, you might be successful. You might also break your drill. And I don't want my DeWalt broken. I just don't. It's those batteries are not cheap.
Also, if you try and make a hole with a hammer, it's probably going to be a very big hole.
Yeah, you can't adjust it. I certainly can make a hole with a hammer. I can make many holes with a hammer. Is it the right size hole I want? Probably not.
Yep.
Perfect. Or if it is, it's probably, I can't use that same size hole for everything. Good God, that's overkill. So yeah, and it's also really hard to screw in things using the back end of a claw hammer. Someone challenged me. I kind of did it because of course I'm in the gaming community, and so of course there's one contrarian every time I say this, and well, you know, if you get creative enough, you can use a claw hammer for everything. And then I tried, and it was really frustrating.
And you're like, yeah, I can, but I also value my time.
It turns out that can and should are different words.
Really?
Yeah. It turns out that just because I'm technically capable of doing something doesn't mean I should do that.
Huh.
I
Is that
know.
why because I've been making holes in the wall with the hammer for a while. I was trying to find screws big enough for the hole. Got it. I understand now. Like, you're laughing at me. Please don't make
I'm
holes.
looking at my drill now, just like I really don't want to replace those batteries. Seriously, DeWalt 20-volt batteries they are not cheap.
They're not. They are not. They're not. So we've only got like 15 minutes left. Dr. B, what else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What do you all want to talk about? Chat? What do you got? This is then welcome to the welcome to the AMA with Dr. B. AMA DRB. Coming at you with those smooth mental health hits. The girl from Ipanema will be hummed very softly right now. And that's all we can do due to copyright restrictions.
This is great. Y'all, I hope that you are enjoying
what do you want to know? Like,
what do I want to know?
My God. If you could only wear one for the rest of your life, hat or bow tie, which hat? There are so many. I'm gonna cut my hair soon, all right, and it's different hats work differently depending on the shape of your face, the haircut. Oh, then hats. Hats or bow ties? I'd wear hats.
Hats. You know
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, because there's so many different options. Like, and different hats for different outfits and different face shapes. If I'm clean shaven, it looks different. I can't wear any of my flat caps right now because of how long my hair is. I just look like Gallagher, and I don't want to roll up into places trying to be taken seriously when I look like I'm about to start bringing out the sledge-o-matic, and everybody, there's going to be a splash zone. Everybody needs tarps. I can't. It's a bad idea. It just looks weird. And but hats versatility. Bow ties are an affectation, and listen how to use Photoshop, my God. Yeah, bow ties are fun, but I don't wear them as often as people think I do. It was funny. I only wore neckties, traditional neckties for years. Then I wore a bow tie once to a convention like 5 years ago, and everybody swore up and down I only wore bow ties. And I leaned into it eventually. They're like,
I
okay,
love
yeah, bow
that.
ties are a thing. All right.
Yeah, I love how people just saw you in a bow tie once at one convention.
Yeah, you're the guy
And
who always wears bow ties. Like, I did once.
and then they forgot all of the times you ever wore a necktie. It's just
Yeah.
gone out of their mind because they saw you and they're like, this is the
Memory's
form
weird.
that Dr. B should be in all the time. And so like
Yeah.
it's like Men in Black kind of thing where you wear a bow tie and suddenly
Yeah, well,
necktie gone.
memory's a strange thing. We don't remember things the way they actually happened. We remember things the way we think they should have happened. And every time we take a memory out and examine it, we change it a little bit before we put it back.
Huh.
It's weird.
Interesting. Interesting. Is this like a is this everybody or is this more a
That's everybody.
neurodivergent thing
No,
than
that's
a
everybody.
okay.
Yeah. Memory is a strange thing. You ever want to doubt yourself? Read the research of Elizabeth Loftus.
Elizabeth Does.
Oh, we are such fragile, fallible creatures.
I
Oh
found
yeah.
it was and has been difficult for me to identify when I was burning out, for me to identify when I was burning out of the gaming
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
Have noticed that myself and others have also burned out on things we love, like speedrunning or streaming. Yes. And then I think it's hard to see
Yeah.
the signs as they come on slowly. Yes.
Absolutely. If you're sinking into a hole 1 inch per week, it's hard to really notice the
Yes.
movement.
Yes. It's when we talk about burnout, it's a very, very, very sensitive and dear subject for me because I burned out in 2016 and I
Hmm.
didn't know it was like that, except it was not just like oh no, I burned out. It was I had a complete meltdown.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop crying. I
Hmm.
wasn't necessarily sad, but just tears kept coming out of my face. I couldn't go near the door or I would have an
Hmm.
anxiety attack.
Yup.
Um, and I was living in Japan alone at the time. And I had burned out on being a kindergarten teacher who worked way too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
so
yeah.
and the thing was is that I didn't realize because you can burn out on anything, y'all. You can burn out on work, you can burn out on anything, I promise you. And it was like I still loved the kids. But
Hmm.
when I look back and I think about the signs, I started like disassociating at work. Like when I could stop paying attention to being a teacher, I stopped while
Well,
I was at work, you
well,
know?
so let's if since we're talking about burnout, let's talk about what the three signs of burnout are that are from
Yes.
a research context, because kind of like crunch, if you've got two people talking about it, you probably have three different definitions between you.
Yeah.
And so from a technical perspective, and this is the model that was created in 1981 by Christina Maslach was one of the two creators, and she's the one who's continued forward with this since then. This is the model that the United Nations uses for the World Health Organization. Burnout has three components. One of them is exhaustion. And that's the kind of exhaustion that's like so paradoxical and that you can't, it's so bone deep that you can't recover. You can't even sleep and get a break from it because it's just in there and it interferes with everything. Two is effectiveness. You are not as good at your job as you once were to your baseline. And three, the research is a little different on this one. They call it something different depending on what you look at, either cynicism or personal detachment. So in other words, you're exhausted and it won't go away. You're not as good at your job and you have 0 Fs to give. And you can, if you go to takethis.org/burnout, we have a lot of resources on that. So there's, yeah, burnout is oof. Yeah. And what sucks about burnout is that, and somebody in the chat talked about this, Zero Wing, that you burned out on writing back in 2012 and it took a long time. That's what really sucks about it, because if you hit real burnout, not just like, oh my God, I'm so burnt out, with in a slang colloquial sense, if you burnout lasts for months or even years after you leave the source. It's just awful.
Yeah. And you can look at, like, I mean, tons of different ways that anybody ever talks about how to overcome burnout, but I feel like sometimes it really just differs from person to person. I find that, and this is a hot take, I find that now that I'm working in an office again, I have to go to the office, I'm able to suddenly disconnect from being at my job more easily than
Oh yeah,
when I
that's
work
actually
from
one of the
home.
biggest preventative measures, and that's people talk about work-life balance. I talk about work-home separation.
Yeah.
And I think that's easier to wrap your head around than work-life balance, which is this
Yeah.
nebulous personal thing.
Right.
Work-home separation is a big preventative measure in burnout.
Yeah.
And
And
especially what for content creators who work out of the home, that's hard.
yeah. And if you think too, like, of course, if you're a content creator and you work out of your home, you probably are freelancer, so you don't have set hours. But if you're working from home and you have a job with set hours, if you take a walk around the block before work and take a walk around the block after work, then you've already kind of separated yourself from, you don't even have to walk around the block. I feel like if you like walk down the street and walk back or
Well,
something.
rituals are
Yeah.
important because I mean we talk about cues. Like
Yeah.
when if I in the days that I I mean I technically work in a physical office, but I rent office space really not far from where I live. I walk here frequently. But it's still external cues that I have changed locations.
Yeah.
I'm in this mode. When I worked around other people, well, other people physically are a great cue that I'm not at home.
Right.
And then when I'm not around those people, I'm at home. If you are working at home, creating routines and rituals around work and transition rituals can be a real help there. You talk about walking around the block. When the pandemic first started, that was one of the things that's that Jessica, my fiance, how to ADHD, did before and after work every day. She would take the dog and walk her around the block. Um, I would sometimes go to our garage and not turning the car on, what the engine wasn't running, but I would just turn the radio on and listen to it for 15 minutes, and that was my commute.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah, it was quiet. I could listen to the radio and just, the drive time stuff, and that was my commute. At the time I was also able to have separate office space in our house, and I only used it for work. And so anything that I can do that were rituals and cues that I'm at work versus at home, it really, really helped a lot. One of the ones I even tried at one point was using different keyboards. Like when I'm gaming, I'm using my Corsair. Okay, I'm using
I
the
love
flashy,
that.
clicky clacky Corsair. When
Yep.
I'm in work mode, switch it out to the boring, quiet Microsoft ergonomic keyboard.
Love
Um,
that.
yeah, just different cues. There's a lot of things you can do to create that sort of mental separation, even if you don't have the physical separation.
Yeah. And then we're seeing too, some people are mentioning, uh, having a different like keyboard or screen that you switch out of,
Yep.
and all kinds of stuff like that. Like you can, if you're on Windows, sorry, Mac or Linux, but if you're on Windows, you can set up a different profile on your
Oh,
computer
yeah.
that you log into.
Did that one
Just
too.
yeah, just to have things like I in my personal, because now I've got 4 monitors, which is great. In my personal computer, I have all of my taskbars on the sides because for whatever reason I like them on the sides. But at work I have it at the bottom because it helps me disassociate being at the computer for work and being at the computer for you know, personal. So yeah, there's lots of stuff. Hey, Dr. B, it's not $50, but it's $5. We have a donation from Marley, is that Dr. B is so cool. And
Well,
what a great
that's very
interview.
kind. That's very
So
kind of you. Thank you for that $5. It, like I said, everything helps get us towards sustainability. If you know, even if you what you can give is $1, $5, whatever you can do, we are appreciative of that because that keeps the lights on just a little bit more incrementally. And if
yeah.
everybody's able to give $5, then that adds up.
Yeah. Yeah. So well, I think that's almost time. I'm looking at my restreamer to and trying to pull up our schedule to make sure that that is the case.
No, I thought
Dr.
that's
B,
my
where's
understanding.
Yeah. Well, I say bye. I'm over here. But yeah. Well, thanks everybody. Perfect. I love this hat. This is perfect. All right.
Monorail, monorail, monorail.
Well, thank you, Dr. B. Dr. B, do you want to shout anything out? Say anything before you go?
Wait, hold on. Natara, what's that word? Somebody say it again. Oh, Dijon ketchup. They glide as softly as a cloud.
Monorail, monorail, monorail.
Well, Rocco, you'll be given cushy jobs.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
perfect.
You know, and the next thing you know, your son will be playing for money in a pinchback suit and listening to some big out-of-town Jasper here to tell him about horse race gambling. Not a wholesome trotting race, no, but a race where they set down right on the horse. I still remember every word of that.
You know, this
15
is
years later. I want to give a shout out to all of you, actually. I mean, this is a cliche, but I want to give a shout out to all of you. It's because of the support we get from the community that really urges us to keep going when it's hard. And there's never been a harder time in the game industry than it is right now. And so thank you all for doing what you can to take this going now and for years to come. Urge others, go check out the website at takethis.org, point out your favorite resources, send it to the people who might need it. And you know, give what you can, not just now, but in an ongoing way.
Yeah. Perfect. We have another $10 from Firebird Lover who just says thank you, Dr. B.
Oh, thank you. God, if we just needed to do musical copyright infringements, then I would have done that from the beginning.
We should have had, instead of mental health in the gaming industry, Dr. B, take this interview. Copyright.
Oh my God, no, we could have gone full
copyright.
William Shatner on this, and I'll just get some fake cigarettes and be like, packed my bags last night, took flight, 0 hour, 9 a.m., and I'm gonna be it's a kite by then.
Oh, thank you, Dr. B. It's always a pleasure having you on. I'm really glad that we were able to have a time where we can have an interview with you again this year.
Well, I'm glad to do it.
And I look forward to our interview next year.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a good interview. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody.
Thanks everyone.
Keishira and Dr. B. Hopefully he's on this side of my screen, or maybe he's on this side of my screen. I'm not sure.
I am frame left for you, so
frame
your
left.
right hand side.
This side, I think.
Your right hand side.
This side.
There we go.
But thanks everybody for being here, and I hope you all enjoyed the interview. And we will be back shortly with Final Fantasy IV Paladin Percent with Natara.
Ooh.
Ooh, and then after that, we have Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster with RPG Chick, and then closing out the day today with Earthbound. So lots of wonderful things going on still yet today, and we still have some donation incentives that you can get in on. We have the trash can percent with Natara, and we have a ton of names that you can bid for. So definitely get your donations in for those, y'all. And then I will I still am, but I was Keishara, and I will see you all again later this week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. We love you.
That's nightmare fuel. Me just looking one eye, just.
司会の方変わりまして、この時間帯からは、春季がお送りさせていただきます。皆様よろしくお願いいたします。